Damien decided to visit the supermarket to stock up on food supplies. As he entered the store, he recognized the cashier as someone from his neighborhood, and they exchanged greetings. Damien began loading his cart with convenience foods, but the cashier expressed concern about the amount of processed foods he was buying. Damien explained that he was busy and couldn't cook as often as he would like. The cashier seemed unconvinced but continued to nag him about his purchases. When Damien pulled out his wallet to pay, the cashier told him to put it away, saying it wasn't even that expensive. He was surprised but grateful for the gesture. Damien finished packing his food supplies and was about to leave the store when suddenly a news story started playing on the TV screen by the cash register. The story was about Jong Eumin, the youngest player of the Tempest of Time and Space, retiring from the game. Damien was taken aback by the news and repeated the name in disbelief. The cashier noticed Damien's reaction and asked if he knew the famous player. He hesitated for a moment before admitting that Jong Eumin was indeed pretty famous. The cashier seemed surprised and started gushing about Jong Eumin's background, describing him as tall, handsome, and amazing at gaming. However, Damien seemed lost in thought and didn't pay much attention to the cashier's words. He had a serious look on his face. In a dense forest near Dunvaden village, Damien hunted some chickens while thinking about Jong Eumin's impending arrival. Suddenly, he received a notification saying that he had leveled up and reached level 15. But Damien was not happy because he had realized that he needed to become much stronger than he was now and could not slack off. He muttered to himself that it was somewhere around there and pulled up a quest titled The Predator of the Whispering Island, which was classified as an epic quest. The quest required him to defeat the mutated wild boar and bring back its hide. The progress on the quest was at 0%, and the reward for completing the quest was Elmore's recommendation. Damien knew that this was the last quest on the island, and if he completed it, he could go somewhere else with Elmore's recommendation. However, wild boars had a tendency to migrate frequently, making them hard to locate. If Damien didn't find the boar's lair within an hour, he would have to wait another hour for it to respawn. Damien set off on his quest, determined to complete it and become even stronger. Damien spotted the boar easily and couldn't believe his luck. The boar was a species of wild beast and an elite type with a level of 30. Damien knew he had to be careful. He remembered that the monster types in the game were categorized as normal, elite, named, and champion, and that the elite and higher types had special characteristics. There were 8 variations in each of the 3 categories: attack, defense, and crowd control, making a total of 24 variations. Damien decided to attack the boar with his skill, Corruption Elixir, to try and find out its characteristics. The elixir hit the boar, and it let out a loud squeal. The boar looked around, trying to find the attacker, but Damien was hiding on a tree. He then greeted the boar, and the boar attacked him. Damien dodged the boar's attack, effortlessly evading the creature's deadly tusks. He taunted the beast, beckoning it to come closer with a confident smirk on his face. In a fluid motion, Damien grabbed another elixir and hurled it towards the boar. The elixir found its mark, hitting the creature with pinpoint accuracy. The boar let out another agonizing squeal as the elixir took effect. Damien observed the boar closely and concluded that the boar didn't have physical immunity. He then began attacking the wild boar relentlessly to study its behavior. After several attempts, he observed that the boar did not summon monsters, had no magical immunity, and lacked a defensive barrier. He was pleased to receive notifications that the wild boar's defensive mechanism had corroded, indicating that his corruption elixir was working well. However, the boar attacked again, and Damien had to dodge quickly to avoid getting hit. He thought to himself that it was a close call. The boar was visibly angry and charged at him again, but Damien dismissed it as typical behavior for a dumb beast species. Suddenly, a wall appeared in front of him, which he had never seen before. Damien was surprised and wondered if the boar's characteristic was wall formation. As the boar charged towards him, Damien realized that he couldn't dodge it and thought to himself that he was in trouble. The boar crashed into Damien, and the impact caused a cloud of dust to cover the area of the collision, with his paper bag mask floating in the air. As Damien emerged from the cloud of dust, he was visibly enraged, and his entire body turned red, with a deadly aura surrounding him. This was due to the skill he possessed called zombification, which was currently at level 1 with a passive attribute of corpse. The skill allowed him to transform into an undead when his HP reached 0 and prevented his HP from falling below 1 for 600 seconds. When activated, he emitted a plague aura that poisoned and made opponents bleed within a 3-meter radius. However, he couldn't use any other skills while the skill was activated, and there was a cooldown period of 1800 seconds. Damien's anger boiled over as he shouted at the wild boar, cursing the creature for hurting him. The sudden outburst of rage startled the boar, causing it to let out a frightened squeal in response. Damien's transformation seemed to have intimidated the wild boar, which now stood frozen in fear. Despite its fear, Damien continued to lash out at the boar, blaming it for nearly causing his demise. Damien fiercely punched the boar, causing it to squeal in pain. Notifications began to flood in, revealing that the wild boar was bleeding and poisoned. Damien was informed that he only had 10 seconds left until the zombification ended, but he remained confident. With his time running out, Damien quickly activated his skill, Plague Aura, determined to defeat the boar once and for all. As the notifications counted down the remaining seconds, Damien declared that he would turn the boar into a bloody pulp. The tension mounted as the seconds ticked away, but Damien's determination did not waver. Finally, with the countdown complete, Damien declared that the boar was done for. Just as the last notification sounded, Damien struck the final blow, defeating the wild boar. Damien felt exhausted and fell to the ground, huffing and puffing. However, he also felt accomplished, as the notifications informed him that he had gained experience and had leveled up to level 16. He had also obtained the wild boar's fangs, hide, and essence, as well as a substantial amount of gold. After that, another set of notifications started pouring in. One notification indicated that Damien had obtained the title, the one who killed the wild boar alone, while another notification stated that he had cleared the quest, the Predator of the Whispering Island. Upon seeing these notifications, Damien felt a sense of accomplishment and excitement. He thought to himself how he could hog all the rewards since he cleared the quest and earned the title, the one who defeated the boar alone. The title came with bonuses such as strength and movement speed increases, as well as a characteristic resistance boost. Damien was thrilled to have earned a solo clear title and took a look at the items he had obtained. He planned on giving the hide to Elmore, and he was still considering what to do with the fangs and essence. Damien was engrossed in checking his acquired items when he heard a voice from behind. Turning around, he saw an old man with a white beard and a muscular body, who appeared to have materialized out of thin air. The old man seemed to be amused by Damien's presence, commenting on his peculiar nature as an otherworld adventurer who had risen again after death. Damien was puzzled by the old man's sudden appearance and noticed that his name was unclear, appearing as a question mark on his status window. Although the old man looked human, it was difficult to discern his age and level, except for the fact that he appeared to have lived for countless millennia. The old man's status window also warned that he had a bad temper, and Damien should be careful not to get killed. Damien was surprised that he was unable to see the old man's other information and wondered why this was the case. The old man seemed to be more interested in Damien and asked him how he was able to move as a dead man. Damien was taken aback by the old man's question and was unsure how to respond. The old man approached Damien and touched his forehead. Damien felt uneasy and asked him to keep his distance. The old man ignored Damien's request and continued examining the small rune on his forehead. The old man identified Damien as an otherworld adventurer who had borrowed the power of darkness to become undead momentarily. Damien was surprised and asked the old man how he knew. The old man calmly replied that he could see it very clearly, but Damien was not satisfied with his response and asked him to back away. Despite Damien's frustration, the old man seemed unfazed and continued to speak, saying that it was not bad to borrow the power of darkness, as it would make it harder for Damien to die. However, he questioned why an otherworld adventurer would harbor such a high level of darkness equivalent to that of the Demon King. At this point, Damien heard notifications indicating that new information had been updated, and the NPC's information was being displayed. Damien saw the new information and he was surprised to learn that the old man's name was Keron, priest of the apocalypse. According to the information displayed, Keron was a representative of the forgotten god Shaka and the chief of the Black Cult. He appeared to have lived for countless millennia and was currently seeking a talent to defeat Arya, the queen of the gods. Damien was taken aback by this information and muttered to himself in disbelief. He had never heard of the priest of the apocalypse or the Black Cult before. He read further and saw that Keron's level and age were unknown, and he was described as ill-tempered, warning Damien to be cautious around him. He couldn't believe what he was seeing and questioned whether the Black Cult was some sort of pseudo-cult. Keron, the seventh chief priest of the god Shaka, was enraged upon hearing the term pseudo-cult being used to describe his beliefs. He declared that he would spread the gospel of the apocalypse across the land after defeating the queen of the gods. Damien tried to calm him down, but Keron ignored him and attacked. Damien managed to dodge Keron's first attack, but he was surprised by the force behind it. Keron attacked again, but Damien dodged once more while calling him a crazy old man, and wondered about the destructive power behind Keron's blows. Keron taunted Damien, impressed by his ability to dodge, and challenged him to continue dodging. Damien took a deep breath and tried to steady his nerves. He knew that he had to face Keron, the priest of the apocalypse, and survive this trial. Keron looked like he was on the verge of senility, and his actions were clearly that of a seriously insane person. Damien wondered what he could possibly do in this situation. As he was lost in thought, Damien received a notification that Keron was displaying hostility towards him. He looked up and saw the old man staring at him with wild eyes. Damien braced himself for a fight and wondered how he could possibly defeat this crazy old man. But before he could even take a step forward, Damien received another notification. It was a quest, and he had to survive Keron's trial to progress. But what surprised Damien even more was that it was a mainstream quest. Damien stood still, lost in his thoughts about the importance of the mainstream quests. These quests were only given to a select few users and could decide the future of the game. The impact of a user's actions on the world of AC was immense and could potentially change it completely. But as he pondered on this, he couldn't help but wonder what an old man had to do with the mainstream quests. Before he could finish his thoughts, Keron interrupted him, attacking him with a sharp remark, demanding to know why he was just standing there like a dumb log. Damien quickly dodged the attack, but he couldn't help but think about the old man and his possible connection to the mainstream quests. Memories of his own experience as the battle god flooded his mind, particularly the time when he was tasked with defeating Abraxas alongside the 6 masters in the treacherous Abyss dungeon. He knew that the success or failure of these quests could have a massive impact on the world of AC, and he was determined to clear them no matter what. Suddenly, Keron caught Damien off guard once again, attacking him while berating him for hesitating. Damien knew that he had to act quickly, so he chanted a mantra and activated a skill called Bloody Impulse. He made a decision to stop overthinking and calculating and instead approached Keron with sincerity and his basic impulses. Damien braced himself for the upcoming battle, knowing that he couldn't afford to lose. He was determined to succeed in the mainstream quest, no matter the cost. Keron's eyes blazed with fury as he charged towards Damien, his fist pulled back in a powerful punch. The impact was devastating. The ground shook violently, and the force of the blow sent shockwaves through the air. Keron's powerful punch caused an explosion. As the dust settled, he shouted in frustration at Damien, asking how long he planned to keep running away. Damien activated his zombification skill and managed to survive Keron's attack. But Keron wasn't done yet. He started attacking Damien again. While dodging Keron's onslaught, Damien wondered why Keron was so strong despite not being a martial artist. Enraged by Damien's ability to dodge his attacks, Keron yelled at him to hold still. Despite Keron's angry shouts, Damien continued to dodge and noticed that he could see Keron's movements better than before. As he distanced himself from Keron, Damien realized that if he could stall for time, he might survive the fight. However, his thoughts were interrupted when he saw Keron gathering energy between his hands. To Damien's surprise, Keron prepared a Kamehameha pose and taunted him, asking if he could dodge this attack as well. Damien, shocked and bewildered, exclaimed in disbelief. Keron then launched his attack, shouting "Die!" This time, Damien had no chance to dodge and got hit by the attack. After the explosion, Damien found himself on his knees but still alive. Suddenly, a notification sounded, indicating that there were only 2 seconds remaining. Keron, who was nearby, was impressed by Damien's sturdy body and complimented him on his physique. Damien responded modestly, saying it was nothing compared to Keron's. As the notification reached 1 second, the countdown ended, and another notification chimed in, saying zombification has ended. Damien felt relieved after escaping this near-death scenario. But the next notification brought him good news: you have cleared the quest Keron's trial. Keron, who had been silent until that moment, spoke up with a hint of sarcasm, remarking that Damien's mouth was still functioning despite the ordeal they had just gone through. Damien retorted with a hint of pride, saying that he now had to live life to the fullest since he had obtained this opportunity. Keron then asked about Damien's power of darkness, which he had noticed earlier. Damien confirmed that he possessed that power and asked if Keron recognized it. Keron responded to Damien's question with a smirk, indicating that he recognized Damien's power of darkness. He mentioned that as the chief priest of the 7th god Shaka, he couldn't possibly miss it. Damien asked Keron about the 7th god Shaka, and Keron praised him as the best god of Arcia. He explained that Shaka was the lord of darkness and apocalypse, incomparable to Arya, and the greatest of all the gods. Damien was a little confused, thinking that the 6 great gods were Supreme Goddess Arya of Light, Phoenix of Fire, Nissa of Water, Tenasil of Tree, Oread of Iron, and Crowd of Earth. However, he realized that there was no way the system would lie. Damien simply nodded, and Keron took the opportunity to get straight to the point. Damien got ready to listen, thinking that Keron was finally getting to the point after causing all this ruckus. Keron then asked Damien if he wanted to become stronger, mentioning that otherworld adventurers desired fast growth and strength. Damien was taken aback by the suggestion, but before he could respond, Keron actually suggested that Damien become his disciple. Damien was surprised by Keron's suggestion and began to walk away while bidding him farewell. This seemed to anger Keron, who hit Damien on the head with a hand chop and demanded to know where he was going. Damien retorted, calling Keron a senile old man. This only served to rile Keron up more, as he boasted about the power of Lord Shaka and how even someone like Damien could become an absolute ruler if he became Keron's disciple. However, Damien wasn't convinced by Keron's claims and challenged him, asking if he would believe it if he were in Damien's position. Keron was taken aback by this, but he eventually relented and showed Damien a book, hoping to convince him to become his disciple. As Damien examined the book, a notification sounded, informing him that the Apocalypse Invocation, the Book of the Black Covenant, was radiating a faint light. Damien was puzzled by this, and as he looked at the book, another notification popped up, saying that the mainstream encounter with the 7th god had been activated. Keron then explained to Damien that the book was a divine object and the only tool that would allow him to meet Lord Shaka. Damien was skeptical, but Keron instructed him to open the book. As Damien opened the book, Keron warned him not to make any further movements. Confused, Damien looked back at Keron, only to see him attacking him with a dart blower. Damien was hit by the dart and lost consciousness. When he woke up, he found himself in a cave-like structure, muttering in frustration about Keron's actions. As Damien tried to process his thoughts, he received a notification saying, "New location information has been updated," but his current location was still showing as unknown. Suddenly, someone appeared in front of Damien. As he looked up to see what it was, he found a small boy standing in front of him. He carefully observed the boy, trying to discern if there was anything unusual about him but couldn't find anything out of the ordinary. The boy, on the other hand, seemed completely unfazed by Damien's presence and started dancing around him. Damien, feeling a bit annoyed at the kid's antics, told him to stop fooling around and asked where they were. The boy stopped and looked at Damien carefully before commenting on his scent. Damien, confused, started to smell himself before the boy confirmed that he liked Damien's scent and asked if they could be friends. Damien was taken aback by the boy's sudden request and couldn't help but wonder what was going on. Damien asked the boy if he had any friends. The boy's response was an angry one, insisting that he indeed had many friends. He even went so far as to offer to give Damien a friend of his own. To Damien's surprise, the boy then pointed to a group of chicks pecking around on the ground nearby. They soon began to flock around him, playing and chirping with enthusiasm. The boy was clearly proud of his feathered friends and insisted that they were all his loyal companions. Damien was touched by the boy's kind gesture and agreed to be his friend. They shook hands, and the boy declared that they were now friends. However, after the boy declared their friendship, Damien suddenly felt dizzy and collapsed.